When you're breaking free from people-pleasing behaviors, you will notice that your relationships around you will start to change. And this can feel really scary because you think, I'm losing all my family, my friends. And let's dive into that deeper. And before we continue, just to say, it's not always a bad thing what can happen with your relationships. They can also get deeper, stronger, and more meaningful. But on the other side, you can also notice that once upon a time you were in friendships or you were in some sort of relationships where you weren't seen, but you did that to keep yourself safe. And as you're learning and as you're growing and understanding your needs, you start to understand how is it that you want to be treated. And that might be because the people that you surrounded yourself with, they may not have the self-awareness, the capacity to give you what you need. And once upon a time that worked for you because you weren't seen. It wasn't about you. It was about you giving to them in order to seek your validation. You weren't seen to keep you safe because that was a pattern that you were continuing. But now it's okay for you to be seen, but they can't see you. And it's about how do you transition from that space without feeling that you're a bad person for putting yourself first. Because you may hear comments like you're selfish or what's wrong with you, you're changing. And that's all natural because from their perspective, they're still in the same space. You may be growing and you might be changing, but they aren't aware of that. And that's where you can try to communicate what's going on. But initially you may be feeling anger, you may be feeling resentful because you're like, but I've done all of this for you. Why is it that you're not able to now put me first and try to understand my perspective on this? And that's where it's trying to open that door to deepen this connection to help them know where you're coming from. And there's also a hard truth in this, is that not everyone is going to understand you. And some people will have the judgment that you are selfish or you are changing and there's something going on for you or there's something wrong with you. But we also need to be okay with that because they're at their place and their journey in life and you are where you are. But if you keep trying to go back to try and get their validation, what is that about for you? And how is that helping and supporting you? Because are they wanting to see that this is what change you're going through? And it's remembering that when you start looking into this chapter and start looking at the people around you and thinking, what about me? It can feel overwhelming, it can feel isolating, it can feel lonely, it can feel quite sad because you know that you would never treat them in that way. But that is the key difference there, is that people aren't going to treat you like you treat them because they're not you. This is you, and it's about you now learning about boundaries and understanding how is it that you want to show up, how is it that you want to communicate, how is it that you have your back here. My name's Elisa, I'm a psychologist and follow for more.
Are you afraid to disappoint people? Do you find that you people please in a large part because you really don't want to disappoint others? If so, I want to talk to you about something because it's great that you don't want to disappoint others. Like, that's part of what makes you a nice person. You love making others happy, and that there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But where it becomes a problem is when you self-sabotage because of the fear of disappointing others. Where it becomes a problem is when you abandon yourself for others because you're afraid that someone else might be disappointed in you. Then what's happening is you are not doing what's right for you. You are abandoning yourself for others. And when you abandon yourself for others, what happens is you erode your sense of self. And gradually over time, you lose connection with who you are. You lose yourself. You lose your sense of self-esteem, self-respect. You lose touch with what's right for you. And it's hard to make decisions. And this erodes over time. So what's really important is to become aware of this fear of disappointing others. Understand that it's normal because of your past experiences and how your brain got wired. And then I want you to just watch for the discomfort that comes when you consider doing something that disappoints others. And then I want you to change the narrative in your brain. And instead of being afraid of what will they think or I don't want to disappoint them, I want you to start saying, I'm not going to disappoint myself. I'm no longer going to abandon myself. What would it look like if I didn't abandon myself in this situation? What would it look like if I didn't disappoint myself in this situation? And then act from that knowingness of what you really need to do and be in the discomfort of disappointing others. And when you start to experience that and see that the world didn't end just because someone was disappointed in you, you're going to start to build resiliency around being able to stay with yourself, because you're going to have to disappoint a lot of people in order to not disappoint yourself.
I think it's time that we talk about girls that pretend to be your friend or pretend to like you just to say they're around you because they're really secretly jealous of you, but don't want to show you that they're jealous of you, but in ways they want to be just like you. This is so important because girls can be so sneaky and so manipulative to think that she's really your friend. In reality, she wants to be just like you. And then she's supposed to be your friend. And you don't realize she's jealous of you until y'all stop being friends or some situation happens in your life. And you're like, oh, you was always jealous of me from day one. I don't know. I think it's important. I think it's really important how scary girls can be just to be around you and have the secret animosity towards you. And you're not thinking that because that's your friend, so you're not thinking she sees you in that type of way. But in reality, you ever tell a person good news and you just ever look over at your friend when you tell them good news, your friend, and see how the reactions are. Yeah.
The most dangerous person walking this earth is a fake, disloyal, envious, jealous person who calls themselves your friend.
Is an issue for me.
The amount of disappointment I've had in my life because of me expecting someone to do something for me as I would do for them has caused me so much pain. Talking about birthdays, for example, I will go to the ends of the earth to make sure someone feels so special and has the best birthday, and then my birthday will come around and those friends or those people will not do the same, and I'm like, oh, so I'm not good enough. They don't like me as much. But they're just not that kind of person.
Yeah, you have to remember, like, the most important person in your life is yourself. It's really important, I think, for our own self-worth and mental health that we figure out how to people please a little less in any situation. If it feels like, okay, maybe this doesn't feel right to me, really stop and say, like, okay, am I compromising something that's important to me? Am I treating myself in a way where I don't deserve to be treated? Because yeah, sometimes other people treat us in a way we don't deserve, but we also do it to ourselves, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
6 signs of a fake friend. 1. They use you. They only reach out when they need something from you, such as a favor, money, or help with something. 2. They betray your trust. They engage in gossip about you or betray your confidence by sharing personal information or secrets with others. 3. They aren't there for you during tough times. They're there for the fun and good moments, but absent when you need emotional support. 4. They're jealous. They try to one-up you or undermine your successes rather than celebrating them. 5. They're overly critical and quick to judge. Fake friends may be quick to criticize or judge your choices, behavior, or decisions. 6. They're two-faced or insincere. They behave one way when you're alone with them and act completely differently in the presence of others.